Dive Right in Cairo is a movie about a teenage girl whose lawyer parents are away on a business trip and she is left alone in her Tennessee house. She turns to writing as a way to cope with loneliness. She still goes to school each day, walking through the woods in a miniskirt and high heels. She meets her teacher, Jonathan Miller, who is middle-aged and had once wanted to become an author but had failed. Despite the age difference, Jonathan becomes a father figure to Cairo, and she secretly admires him. She arrives early to class, and Jonathan asks her if she has read the 12 required books for the semester. Jonathan's repeating student arrives, and he invites her to eat with him after the girls leave. He is curious about Cairo's reading choices and looks at the books on her desk. His friend, Boris, suddenly appears and grabs a book from Jonathan's hand. He tries to stop Boris from reading it, but he notices a book. When Jonathan returns home, he finds his wife, Beatrice, preoccupied with her work. He tries to talk to her, but she seems too preoccupied. He calls her to express his excitement over a student reading his book during their conversation. Beatrice's coworker, Amy, calls her right after the call. Just as they are about to get intimate, Amy calls again, leaving Jonathan frustrated. He shares his weekend with his friend Boris, explaining how Amy's interruptions ruined a romantic moment with Beatrice. As they chat, they notice Cairo coming out of the woods nearby. Jonathan, still angry from the previous day, watches her approach Cairo, unaware of the tension that greets them. She removes her headphones. Jonathan tries to keep his cool by casually conversing with Cairo, while Winnie pretends that she accidentally dropped her stuff in the locker room. He sees through her act and confronts her, realizing she is trying to seduce him. Cairo notices this and tells Winnie she is quite bold. Winnie tries to give Cairo some essay ideas, but Cairo finds them too ordinary. Winnie suggests that Cairo tried some charming teachers for essay material. Cairo, confused, points out the significant age gap, finding it odd. Winnie is flirtatious and assures Cairo that it is okay. She suggests that Jonathan seems nice and gentle, making him a good choice for Cairo's first date, as he won't make her feel uncomfortable. Despite Cairo's initial reservations, Winnie's playful persistence piques Cairo's interest, and he continues to tease her about Jonathan's longings. She leaves Cairo feeling embarrassed and frustrated as time passes. She is so eager to experience it in class that she often looks at Jonathan, indicating her attraction to him. One day, Jonathan quietly reaches out to her from behind and asks her to meet him at his office after class in Jonathan's office. He talks to Boris and invites him and his wife to join him for dinner. They have a great time and dance before Boris leaves Cairo. He happens to see Jonathan dancing. They laugh together and talk about Winnie. Jonathan expresses his approval of their friendship and continues to talk about Cairo's living situation. The teacher congratulates Cairo on a great work in her recent piece of writing and is impressed by Cairo's ability to remember certain lines from it. Recognizing Cairo's talent, the professor asks her to write a story in the style of her favorite author and believes that if she does well, she will pass the whole semester with flying colors. Cairo sees this as a great opportunity and eagerly accepts the challenge. Suddenly, she surprises her professor by reading one of his books and leaving him speechless. The professor is delighted and admits that the book she quoted is the first he ever wrote and holds special meaning for him. Cairo believes he is simply uninspired and challenges him to find the inspiration to write again. He invites Cairo to meet him again on the weekend to continue discussing the short story at the meeting spot. As they talk, Jonathan surprises Cairo from behind and comments on how they have been honing their literary skills together as a poet called Eliot. Cairo looks at Jonathan, who listens attentively, and they later critique Eliot's poetry, sharing their thoughts and opinions as Cairo smokes. Cairo decides to alter her look and brings coffee to Boris and Miller, who appear more at ease, joking and sharing a cigarette. Cairo mentions to Winnie that even though the professor didn't comment on her new appearance, Cairo tells Miller that she's planning to craft her story in the style of Henry Miller, a renowned author celebrated for his works on love. Jonathan's phone rings with a message from his wife, inviting him on a weekend trip. Cairo seizes the opportunity to talk about her short story, but Jonathan, preoccupied with thoughts of his wife, quickly gives her the green light to pursue her writing, without much thought. Winnie playfully teases Cairo, suggesting she's attempting to charm her professor. Jonathan's plans are constantly interrupted by Amy's persistent calls. Jonathan was taken aback when he heard Cairo's voice on his phone. It turned out she had accidentally left her phone in his pocket while they were talking. Jonathan's wife was annoyed about their weekend plans being canceled. Jonathan offered to bring Cairo's phone back to her house, even though it was raining heavily. When he saw Cairo outside in a dress that caught his eye, they met in the rain. Their eyes locked. Days later, Jonathan found himself completely captivated by Cairo. Suddenly, Cairo sent him his midterm test, snapping him back to reality. His wife begged him to leave her alone as she dealt with other things. Jonathan left and went to a nearby house, where he found Cairo's completed work and began reading it, completely engrossed in the stories. His excitement reached its peak as he imagined Cairo in the scenes, fueling his desire. The following day, Cairo came to class, donning an appealing ensemble, but Jonathan's demeanor towards her has significantly shifted. He no longer offers her the same level of warmth as he once did, picking up on a change. Cairo inquires about Jonathan's well-being, to which he confesses his dismay over the suggestive nature of Cairo's writing. Cairo attempts to clarify that her rejection of such content was not personal, but Jonathan is not swayed, choosing to ignore her reasoning and deciding to dismiss both her work and their connection. Cairo, feeling frustrated, confronts Jonathan, criticizing his work as mediocre and lackluster. Jonathan stands by his position, arguing that their roles are defined by teacher and student, suggesting that she's merely jealous of her accomplishments, leading Cairo to abruptly leave the classroom, leaving her manuscript in the hands of a school administrator. Miller returns home after a difficult day, recounting his run-in with Cairo and her narrative to his wife. His wife becomes interested in Cairo's writing. Feeling down after being turned down by Miller, Cairo seeks solace in a drink with her friend Winnie as the night goes on, drinking more as the evening unfolds, where Beatrix hands him the phone and he listens to accusations that he had a relationship with Cairo. Jonathan denies this and assures Beatrix that it is not true, but Beatrix warns him that he could lose his job and his wife if it is found to be true. The next day, Cairo is absent from class and meets with the principal, while Jonathan continues to teach about Cairo and how important she is to her. As Cairo's plans unravel, the teacher is summoned to a meeting with the school management. Cairo and Professor Miller are questioned extensively, answering questions about their interactions during class and if they had any close encounters outside of school. Cairo's answers strongly suggest that there was a relationship between them, and the director decides to suspend Jonathan. When he returns home, Beatrix asks him if something is wrong, but he denies it. He only acknowledges his uniqueness to Cairo. Beatrice doesn't accept him until he admits this truth, which sparks a fiery exchange. Beatrice, seething with anger, storms out, declaring her desire for a divorce. At the same moment, Winnie reveals that Cairo could jeopardize Jonathan's job. However, Cairo views this as his biggest accomplishment and decides to incorporate it into his college application essay. Cairo then tells Winnie that Jonathan didn't hold her in high regard, so this was her way of retaliating. Cairo's essay vividly illustrates the possible fallout of Jonathan's relationship with Cairo once she completes it. The movie ends here,